You're listening to the Scotty C and Rice Show. I'm Scotty C.
And I'm Ryan Masuda.
On today's show, catch up on some NFL, some basketball. We're redeemed a couple of weeks late on our first and only breaking news that we've ever had, and yeah, we'll talk about stuff. How you doing today?
Doing all right, man. I picked up a little elbow injury in the gym. That's kind of giving me a little bit of pause here, realizing that I'm not the spring chicken that I once was. But I'm going to go see that Interstellar movie tomorrow night, another Christopher Nolan flick, and it's Bama week.
Bama week. Are you
How are you?
nervous?
I was nervous when the line came out at Bama giving 6. It's since up to 6.5 and is held there. But as usual, as the week progressed, I have diluted myself into I believe that we will win.
I am cautiously optimistic that LSU has a chance in that game.
Yeah, let's start talking about that a little bit since obviously that's going to be the big primetime CBS game. I'm aware that we've lost 3 straight to Bama. Couple of heartbreakers in there. You know, the national title game is included in that one. And, you know, people make a big deal out of that game. Said that Bama blew us out because of the final score being 21 nothing. But our defense held Alabama to 5 field goals through 3.5 quarters, despite our offense not crossing the 50-yard line. So that just goes to show how great of a defense that was. But there's only one player on LSU right now that has beaten Bama, has played on a team that's beaten Bama, and that's Kenny Hilliard. I think Traven Durrell is actually the only LSU Tiger that has scored against Bama, but I don't know, man. I'm feeling good. I don't. It's gonna be hard for me to believe that LSU is gonna lose 2 big primetime night games in Death Valley. Les Miles' birthday is on Sunday. Just a little FYI there, a little hidden gem. But I don't know. Alabama's been a completely different team on the road. We've had success stopping mobile quarterbacks like Blake Sims. Alabama beat Arkansas by 1 point on the road. I'm not afraid of Blake Sims and Lane Kiffin the way I was afraid of AJ McCarron and Julio Jones and Greg McElroy.
Greg McElroy. That's funny.
I was
But
trying. I
but
was trying not to laugh there, but
but I mean seriously, is LSU gonna score? Can they?
these are 2 of the best defenses in the country. Alabama's second, LSU is fourth. I think that LSU can. Bama's defense, they're very, very strong against the run, which is obviously LSU's strength, and they are deficient in their passing defense, which is obviously LSU's weakness. The thing that's giving me hope is that even though Anthony Jennings' stat line against Ole Miss is not anything to write home about, there were a few plays in that game that he made in terms of looking at his second and third reads that wasn't there in the past. He wasn't making those plays against Mississippi State. He wasn't making those plays against Florida. And he made a lot of those second and third reads against Ole Miss and hit Terrence McGee on a couple of screens that, you know, it sounds like it's not a big deal, but when you can get 6, 7 yards on first down as opposed to taking a sack or a throwaway, you know, that's a real positive any way you can look at it. So basically, the defenses are a wash. Both teams are going to try to run the ball. Alabama's offensive line is a little bit banged up. Cameron Robinson, high ankle sprain, practiced this week, but I got to imagine he's going to go. The guys from Monroe came down to LSU and Bama last year, and obviously he chose Alabama. But I just think that it's going to be another low-scoring punchers game like Ole Miss was, and in that scenario, I think LSU's got a great chance.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic, man. LSU seems to be finding their swag a little bit here as the season goes on. And if Jennings can just hit like two good passes downfield, just two all game. If he gets two big plays, then I think that sets them up pretty nicely.
Yeah, Alabama, they're just a completely different team on the road, man. They have really struggled outside of Tuscaloosa, and that game, that blowout against Texas A&M, is not looking as good when Louisiana Monroe, a Sun Belt team, hung around with Texas A&M at Kyle Field.
Yeah, I mean Texas A&M's falling apart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm no longer concerned about playing them at the end of the year, but a lot of people, I think, are kind of giving Bama that pole position as the top one-loss team in the country. They're the first team that's going to move into the top four of the playoff. Keep in mind, Alabama's got a very tough remaining schedule. They have to play at LSU, then they're home against Mississippi State, and then they're on the road at Auburn. Alabama's got a very tough slate these next three games, and I would never say that Nick Saban would have his team looking ahead, but Alabama's got a pretty tough remaining schedule, and it's going to be physical, and even though we've lost three straight, I mentioned, like that game last year, we talked about it a lot. Zach Mettenberger goes out on the opening drive. They're driving down the field, and J.C. Copeland fumbles the ball in the one going in the end zone and completely changed the game. And we fell apart in the second half, couldn't stay with them. But that was a close game at halftime. I mean, it was 17-14. And the 2012 game, LSU was leading throughout. T.J. Yeldon just took a broken screen pass, threw the ball right over Jalen Collins, and took it to the house for a last-second win. So you can throw the records out. These guys are going to go at each other. There's a whole lot of mutual respect on both sides, but they're going to play hard, and I think it's going to be a four-quarter game, and, give me Death Valley at night. Greatest atmosphere in college football on a Saturday night when it's rocking.
Yeah, dude, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy.
And one thing that we can never discount, LSU is going to have a better field goal kicker in Colby Delahousse than whoever Alabama trots out there. Nick Saban can recruit, but Nick Saban cannot recruit kickers.
I know. Doesn't want to give him no money.
Well, speaking of allegations of Nick Saban and giving money, let's talk about some news that you actually were on top of a few weeks ago. That would be 4 weeks ago. Last week, Dave Brandon, the embattled athletic director for the University of Michigan, announced that he was resigning. And you initially broke this news almost a month ago, and it was kept quiet.
No one believed us.
No one believed us. No one believed us. We got a little bit of flack on Twitter, but eventually it came out. And then an interesting part of game day last week was Desmond Howard saying that 3 weeks ago he had spoken with a Board of Regents member who had said that there was no way Brandon was going to survive and that they were going to start the process of getting him out. So, obviously, Scotty C. and Desmond Howard, who is a former Heisman Trophy winner, one of the greatest players in Michigan history, had very similar sources. And Scotty C. was willing to go public with it, put himself on the line, whereas Desmond Howard kept it quiet. Props to you, Scott.
I know. So, yeah, we were right. Eat it. People who said that I wasn't or we weren't. Yeah, it was even best. It was like one thing that he resigned, and then the next day it was like they finally came out that the Board of Regents was going to force him out, and then I felt really validated in how correct we were and in breaking that. But that's okay. The world will catch up with us one day. No big deal.
We're 1-0 right now.
Yeah, right? So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see Michigan hires, man. I hope they do better than they did last time. So, because they're going to have to, whoever the new AD is, can hire the next football coach, and I don't know. Interesting times in Michigan athletics.
Is there anyone that sticks out to you? I know the defensive coordinator for Michigan State is a popular choice. there anyone that sticks out to you as someone that you would prefer that Michigan looks at for the head coaching position? Because Brady Hoke could win out. I'm sorry, he's not keeping his job.
Yeah, oh man, I haven't really given it much thought. But yeah, Pat Narduzzi, that's his name.
Correct.
There's been a lot of momentum for him, but I don't know, man. He's coached with D'Antonio for a long time, I think. I think that'd be pretty brutal, but I don't know, man, because it's just a matter of like, do we try to go back to the spread, or do we stick it with like a traditional? But how many pro style coaches are really, I mean, really good ones are going to be available? It's not like David Shaw's going to leave Stanford.
Let me ask you this: with more and more teams in the NFL incorporating the zone read and more spread concepts, do you think it's an absolute requisite that Michigan sticks to their Michigan style of football instead of embracing a return to the spread?
It's just going to they'd have to pick someone really good for people to buy in, you know, because that's like part of this whole issue with Brandon was like he was really changing, the Michigan way and all that sort of stuff. He he built up a lot of ill. It was the same thing with Rich Rod. Like Rich Rod didn't understand the traditions when he first got there, and that turned a lot of people off very quickly. And he wasn't able to rebound in time. Because that 11-2 team, that was his team. Like if he hadn't made some pretty major missteps within the culture of Michigan, he still would have been there. So it'd be a really tricky balancing act to bring in like a straight spread guy. I mean, you could sell someone like Dan Mullen though, because he's had so much success. But it's gonna be tricky. It's gonna be a tricky hire, man. They could easily blow this, like very easily blow this. I say they go for Spurrier.
Oh, no.
How sick would that be?
The knuckle curve.
We know who'd be a good hire, man, is Colorado State's coach, McElwain, former Alabama offensive coordinator. He's really turned that program around quickly. Got a lot of momentum going for himself. I mean, definitely under the radar, but that'd be like a nice, solid hire.
No, I think that's a great hire because I mean Colorado State right now 8-1. They just need to. They're in a tie with Boise. I mean they lost to Boise. They need Boise to lose, but that's a program. I believe he won maybe 2 or 3 games his first year, but he's got them right in the thick of the Mountain West. No, that's a good name.
Yeah, so we'll see how it all plays out. I mean they got to pick an AD first, and it'll all trickle down. So. Who knows, man? Michigan.
Well, I don't think Michigan should. I understand the traditions, and there was, especially with Rich Rodriguez giving Braylon Edwards' number to a cornerback. Like, there's definitely some things he did wrong, but I just think Michigan needs to tread very cautiously and not get stuck in this whole elitist mode. I mean, they need to embrace. I don't want to say that they need to radically change everything, but I think to eliminate people based on the philosophy because they want to fit a certain mold of what they believe Michigan football to be. Michigan football has always been about winning. I mean, it's the winningest program in Division I history. That's what Michigan football is about, winning, not a specific type of system. And whatever system gets them there, I don't think they need to really close off any avenues based on what they believe how the Wolverines should play.
No, I mean that's the logical way of going about it, but their way of thinking has gotten them to where they're at, and so that's the unfortunate part. People who went to Michigan, man, they're very very proud of that place. Pretty cool. It was a pretty cool place.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal degree. I mean, I wish I was smart enough to have gone to the University of Michigan. It's a great degree, and everyone who went there should be very proud of that. But at the end of the day, winning trumps everything. And speaking of winning trumping everything, and someone who went to Michigan, one of one of the favorite arguments I've always had listening to you have with people is Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning. And in Chapter 17, Tom Brady is victorious again. Scotty C, how happy were you, despite the fact that you have semi-quasi-renounced your Patriots fandom, although LeGarrette Blount is now a Steeler. So I don't know how that...
Exactly. So, like, yeah, I had to break up with them last year, and then, you know, we made up. So, as soon as LeGarrette Blount was off that team, I was back in. So, I was stoked, man. Brady's looked good these past 5 weeks. Really been on a roll. I think that definitely coincides with Gronk, you know, feeling more comfortable out on the field. And we'll just see how far they can take this, man. They look really good against a really tough Broncos team. But they're going to have to get home field because they will not beat Denver at Denver in the playoffs. So
can you run down though a little bit of you don't have to get into the whole thing, but can you run down a little bit of your Brady Manning argument? Because I mean this goes back to when you and I lived together in like 2005. I mean this has been a long-standing position that you've held, and I believe you've correctly held, in which one of the favorite arguments you've always brought up is, well, who is the better quarterback, Joe Montana or Dan Marino, when people argue for Peyton Manning? So why don't you elaborate a little bit on why you have always felt that Brady is superior to Manning?
Well, I think it boils down to big game performance. When Peyton Manning was at Tennessee, he never beat Florida. And since he's been in the NFL, he had some major choke jobs in the playoffs. And you got Tom Brady, a lowly 6th-round pick, working his tail off. Got 3 Super Bowls, should be 5. And yeah, he shows up in the big moments, and Peyton Manning has always crumbled. Unfortunately, I mean he did get the 1 Super Bowl, you know.
He beat Rex Grossman.
Yeah. So you know he has that one.
And then they lost to Drew Brees and the Saints.
Yeah, that was Saints team. Saints team was good, but yeah, basically it just boils down, man. Manning's always folded, and Brady's got those rings, got more rings. He beat him more times in the regular season. You know, Manning can have all the stats he wants, but when it comes down to big games, you know, Tom Brady has definitely has a better track record.
Well, when you look at Manning and Brady's skill players, I really think the only time Brady's had better skill players was 2007 and 2008 when he had Randy Moss, Wes Welker, and that group. Other than that, I mean, you look at what Peyton has right now and Demaryius Thomas, I mean, Julius Thomas.
Yeah.
You know, like
Demaryius Thomas is a beast.
Oh, he's a sick freak of nature. And like Emmanuel Sanders, like that was a guy that the Patriots tried to sign last year on a restricted free off. Was it last year or a couple? I don't know. The Patriots tried to sign Emmanuel Sanders. They offered him a contract. He was a restricted free agent. Pittsburgh matched, and now he's with Denver. And I mean, New England brought in Brandon LaFell. You know, they brought in Danny Amendola. They brought in Tim
Wright. That's
Wright.
really worked out. They paid Danny Amendola instead of Wes Welker. Good job, guys. Good job.
But when you just look at, and you can make the argument that Brady's had better defensive units, but I think that was only true in the early part of Brady's career. And it's not like the Colts had awful defenses. They just, the thing with Peyton, and it's not just Brady, as you mentioned, his playoff issues. I mean, we were in Gainesville when the Steelers, a 6 seed, were in Indianapolis, and Jerome Bettis fumbles the ball on the 1. And Ben Roethlisberger makes one of the most epic tackles on the 50-yard line to stop that run back. And then Peyton can only get them a long field goal attempt. Yeah, he hated on Mike Vanderjagt, but he did Vanderjagt no favors. He could have got him closer, and he didn't. And that's always been the thing with Peyton, is when you get him against a physical, good defense, which there are more of in the playoffs, he does not do well. And when you look at the division, like, I'm not going to sit here and say that Tom Brady's played in the toughest division, but you know,
No,
Peyton Manning's played in the
not.
AFC. He's played in the AFC South and the AFC West. It's not like he's played really tough opponents in the regular season year in and year out.
No, not at all. Yeah, I mean, if you can hit Peyton a couple times, man, that guy gets happy feet. And then he gets the Manning face, and he just starts wailing his arms and kind of being a dick to everybody. You know, like it's so obvious. Like he's just like such a dickhead when things don't go well. I mean, when things aren't going well for the Patriots, Tom Brady will yell at his teammates, like straight up get in their face and yell at them. But he doesn't like passively aggressively just like shrug his shoulders and pout. You know.
Tom Brady won a Super Bowl with David Givens, Troy Brown. I mean, these receivers Deion Branch that he's won Super Bowls with. It's just insane to me, and I really just wish that Bill Belichick and the Patriots maybe splurged a little bit more on some of these. Like Emmanuel Sanders is a free agent. Make him an offer he can't refuse. All right, in the last Super Bowl Tom Brady had, he was throwing to the corpse of Chad Ochocinco. All right, like Chad Ochocinco was single covered the entire game and still was so completely useless.
That's sad to think about. I'm having flashbacks from that game. I hate the Giants. God damn it. God damn it.
Yeah, and it's funny because the same people who say, "Oh, well, like, you know, Eli is not better than Peyton," because I'm sorry, Tony Romo to me is a better quarterback than Eli Manning. If you put Tony Romo on those Giants teams, they are Super Bowl champions, and it's probably a lot more decisive. Sorry, like Eli's.
So, that's bold. That's a bold statement.
You look at their numbers side by side. Eli and Tony are pretty much same quarterback, except Tony Romo's got a way higher completion percentage, and he shouldn't be taking snaps. All right, he shouldn't be the point after attempt snap guy. But yeah, give me Tony Romo over Eli Manning any day of the week.
All right, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. So how long is Adrian Peterson going to get suspended for?
Well, I mean, he's already missed 8 games. Should he get suspended for any more?
Well, he hasn't been suspended, technically. So I think a suspension is forthcoming.
For a first-time offender with no priors and he's got convicted of a misdemeanor?
I don't know. I think the NFL is going to way overstep their bounds by again. I tried to prove a point about I don't know what.
That's the problem here, though. Obviously, I don't agree with what Adrian Peterson did. I really don't agree with any of that. But if he is suspended, then that's Roger Goodell again wielding more power, having the ability to make it up as he goes along, and with Adrian Peterson, I mean, this guy has a lot of incentive to be playing. So even though he wasn't technically suspended for 8 games, he's not out there. And I mean, this is a 29-year-old running back who's probably going to be cut in the offseason by the Vikings. And he needs to prove that he can still earn like one more paycheck as an NFL running back who's approaching 30 years old. And like, he needs to go out there and put up numbers, especially because he's probably the only active player with the way NFL teams complement running backs these days who has a shot at Barry Sanders, or excuse me, at Emmitt Smith's record for all-time rushing yards.
Right. Yeah, man, it'll be interesting to see what they do. You know, the whole situation is just so shitty, you know.
I'm just so sick of Roger Goodell having all this power that he continues to be allowed to make it up as he goes along, and that doesn't benefit anyone. And that's obviously why he still has his job, because nobody realizes that the problem isn't Roger Goodell. The problem is the NFL owners. They love Roger Goodell because everyone's sitting there saying, "Oh my God, Roger Goodell's so out of touch. He's screwing all this up." All the guy does is take orders from the owners the owner's the problem here, and as long as Roger Goodell's there, he just continues to deflect heat off of them, and it just blows my mind that we can't figure that out as a society.
Right. Well, ESPN reported today that in the arbitration hearings for Ray Rice, that Ozzie Newsome testified that Ray Rice told Roger Goodell that he punched his then fiance, now wife. So it'll be interesting to see how that all concludes. But like you said, the owners, as long as they have Goodell taking all the bullets for him, he will have a job, and he keeps making them tons of money. So that's the real reason why he has a job.
The NFL has brought in record revenues, but you and I are both college graduates. Do you think the NFL would be pulling in any less money if you and I were the commissioner?
No. They
You're
would not.
Convincing.
Well, I just pictured myself as an NFL commissioner and how quickly I would lose that job pretty fast. That's all I'm saying. I just flashed through my life in in a nanosecond in my brain. It's a very long and twisted narrative.
What's the first thing you would do as NFL commissioner?
We're all going out in Manhattan.
So your first and last act as NFL commissioner, we are all going ham.
Stretch limos. There will be about 25 of us in stretch limos. Helicopter will be involved. Lots of $2 bills.
Jay-Z just bought Ace of Spades, and I am going to buy that directly from him.
Ace of Spades. I have a sick picture with me in a bottle of Ace of Spades.
That was actually the photo that showed up when you called me for a good long while, but I believe it has since changed to you face first on the floor of my hotel room in Waikiki.
I was so sleepy. I don't know what happened. Something drugged me. It was all that fucking meat.
After my wife jumped through flaming hoops to get your debit card to you, and then you didn't even need it.
I know, I was the worst. I don't know, I'll never understand how I got that sleepy that quickly. I just was not able to stand up or be awoken by 4 other grown men. Could not wake me up.
There was not anything that we could do to wake you. We tried, but we could not wake you. When Scotty C is in a deep sleep, folks, you will not lose it.
Bullshit, man. That's all the fun. Sorry, I made up for it.
Well, speaking of a deep sleep, you want to talk about LeBron a little bit? What's going on there?
I don't know, man. Cleveland, they lost me some money the other night, so never betting on them again. But off to a slow start. And I think, obviously, this team's going to get better the more they play together. But I think we all have to remember now that Kyrie Irving is not Dwayne Wade or any other point guard-y version of him. Plays a lot of hero ball. Deion Waiters is, I don't know what his role on that team is going to be. I don't even know if he's a good NBA player. And then you got Kevin Love, who is looked annoyingly good so far, but I don't think he's getting the ball enough when you have Kyrie Irving just dominating the ball the way he is. He had 0 assists against the Jazz. Took a ton of shots, over dribbled. Damian Lillard ate him up in that Blazers-Cavs matchup, where Kyrie finished 3 of 17, and I think LeBron left him out to dry that game because he was just watching him try and do too much. LeBron only scored 3 points in the second half, and I think he was trying to show him that his way is not going to work. So, but I think that's pretty passive aggressive from LeBron.
LeBron's done that though in the past. I mean, if you look at that San Antonio Heat series in the finals last year, right around the midway point of Game 4, he just seemed like he was like, I can win with this group, and I'm just gonna prove to the Heat organization that this is their fault, and the cast that they've assembled around me is not good enough to get the job done. I don't know. Dion Waiters has 4 assists in 4 games. He's been yanked for Sean Marion in the starting lineup.
Yeah, and then you got Matthew Dellavedova playing crunch time minutes, which is insanity to me. Because seriously, who is that guy? And LeBron, man, he's just like he's also so frustrating sometimes. Even when I was rooting for him on the Heat in the half court offense, he just takes the ball and then like, dude, all he has to do is attack the rim, and I don't understand like why he doesn't every time. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't know, man. It'll be interesting to see how long it's going to take Kyrie to bend to LeBron's will in this situation, because I think that's the whole key.
Do we know if David Blatt can coach?
No, not yet. No, I mean, because that offense has not been very fluid as of yet. 1-3 start against who was their first? So they lost to a bad Knicks team.
Lost to a bad Knicks team that was coming off a back-to-back.
Yeah, beat the Bulls where LeBron actually showed some life because he feels motivated against those guys. Got blown out by Portland, who was a very good team.
You bet against your Zers, right, Scott?
I did. God damn it, so bad. Such a rookie betting mistake. Also, the way the points were offered, I blew it so hard. The Blazers still don't have a real bench though, so that's my hesitation with them. But like I said, Damian Lillard ate Kyrie Irving alive in that game, and then they lose on a last-second shot to the Jazz, who should not be in that game when you have LeBron and Kevin Love.
Cavaliers had 6 assists in the whole game against the Jazz.
Yeah, that's not going to work. And it's going to be really interesting, man, if Kevin Love keeps getting forgotten in these games, if he even resigns with the Cavs at the end of the year.
Oh, please sign with Golden State, Kevin Love. Please sign with Golden State.
Dude, Golden State is good. I'm totally jumping on that bandwagon.
There's a lot of teams in California that are good right now. The Lakers are not one of them, but all the other ones seem to be doing pretty well.
Lakers are awful. But I don't know, man. Any night LeBron can just turn on the switch and beat a team single-handedly. So the whole thing will be if LeBron and David Blatt can get Kyrie to bend to their will, or get him to play the way LeBron wants to play. I mean, LeBron's really the coach of that team. He's the coach, GM, president, and one day owner on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like, let's be real about it.
But is that a good thing?
No.
Can Cleveland win with that setup?
It's yet to be seen. It's way too early. I mean, it's been a week. It's been 4 games. Kyrie Irving's never played a meaningful basketball game in his life as of yet. So it's just way too early to tell.
But I think
whenever LeBron's like watching the Heat games, watching the way they've been moving the ball and how good, better than expected the Heat have looked, and kind of misses that sort of ball movement and sacrifice among veteran players.
that's one thing that I don't think people realize. They assume it's easy to play with LeBron because of his talent and his willingness to pass, but with all great players, you have to try to think like them. And I mean, Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade made some sacrifices over the years that I don't think anyone's ever really going to appreciate until Cleveland doesn't win shit with LeBron there. And I've seen some of the moves that LeBron James has lobbied for when he was in Cleveland. He lobbied for Larry Hughes. He lobbied for Mo Williams. I mean, these are the type of Cleveland did everything they could to put a team around him based on who LeBron said that he wanted, and none of those guys were any good. And then at the end of the day, oh, it was LeBron's supporting cast. And it's like, well, LeBron had all the power in Cleveland. They weren't making a move without LeBron signing off, and a lot of those moves were made for him because of who he wanted. In Miami with Pat Riley, he didn't have that. Pat Riley's just like, no, man, this is how it's gonna work. Like, I'm better at building championships than you are. I've done it for many, many years, and that's where you saw guys, come in there and sacrifice a lot of roles. But I mean, Riley knows the type of player to do that. I don't think LeBron does. I know it's early, man. I'm not going to overreact. I'm not going to be one of those people, but in we've seen the situations where LeBron has had all the power and it's never worked out.
It's true. Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be interesting to watch, man. I'm like all in on the NBA this year. Like I've been watching a ton of games, betting a lot. I think it's a really interesting NBA season.
I'm really going all in. My life's taking this direction of NBA watching and betting. I like it. I support it, Scott.
It's good. Yeah. I mean, there's tons of interesting teams this year. It's just like a really fun basketball season.
Been watching any Pelicans ball?
No, I haven't. I've yet to see them.
Do you have League Pass?
I don't have League Pass. I should. I don't know. My cable bill is already fucking stupid expensive. I split it with 3 people. It's fucking crazy. Comcast is a ripoff. But I've yet to see them. I mean, has Davis is it carrying over from the summer?
Oh, it is.
Underperforming?
It is. If LeBron keeps playing the way he is and Cleveland starts to rest him, Kevin Durant being out, Pelicans make a pretty serious playoff push. I don't want to jinx it, but it might be between like him, Blake Griffin, CP3. Those guys will probably split it. AD, baby. Let's go, bro.
Yeah. So you think they're a legit playoff team?
I do. I really do.
Do you know what's their record? So I know nothing about their team as of this year yet.
Well, I do have it down on my notes. Unfortunately, one of my cats is sitting on that. I believe they're 2-2.
2-2.
Yeah, but the good thing with them, man, as long as they stay healthy, and for me, if Ryan Anderson is the key between playoffs and just a really, really scrappy like 10th seed in the West. But with Westbrook and Durant's injuries, I mean, Oklahoma City might have to win like over 42 games by the time those guys come back just to reach the 49 wins that the 8th seed had last year in the West. I mean, the amount of time they're losing those two, and like how much faith do you have in Scott Brooks to keep that ship going with Reggie Jackson and Anthony Morrow, Steven Adams?
They have no scoring.
They got no scoring, and I don't know. I like the Mavericks. The Mavericks are deceptively like crafty. Obviously, the Spurs are there. The Clippers haven't really looked as great as you would expect them to right out the gate. I mean, Blake and CP3 are getting theirs, but kind of the rest of the team, not their defense hasn't been what I was expecting. But Golden State, man, that is a lethal team. They are lethal.
Yeah, Golden State's looked awesome so far. Everyone in the Bay Area is very excited. Klay Thompson has definitely taken some sort of jump in his game.
Yeah. It's like, really you guys are going to trade me for Kevin Love, and I got my max? All right, I'm actually going to ball out and not do like Kyrie Irving on a max.
Like, he had a dunk in the Portland game, which was a really close, good game. That was just, I didn't think he was capable of. But he looks a little bit, more bulked up. He's just been on fire. And so with him going the way he is, that only helps out Steph Curry. So yeah, Golden State looks good, man. Yeah, they crushed the Clippers last night. Crushed them.
Mm-hmm.
Clippers are looking soft. I think, it'll be interesting to see if the Pelicans can make a run. I think the Kings are going to be a scrappy team with the way Boogie Cousins is dominating. They had to win against the Clippers. Yeah, be fun. Be a fun season. Hopefully, I win lots of monies.
Lots of money can take many Florida trips.
Yeah.
Pretend like I'm commissioner, or at least vice commissioner.
That's what I should do with my betting money. I should fucking buy a plane ticket. I'm up pretty nicely right now. I should cash out, buy a plane ticket.
Uh, well, do you want to get to some college football talk? Can you believe it's aside from the LSU Bama game, it's taken us this long to get to some college football?
Let's do it. And let's talk about my beefs for a second. They suck. All right, moving on.
Props to you for nailing the Cal +3 against Oregon State.
Oh, dude, you gimme. And I didn't even bet. I keep sleeping in on Saturdays. I fucking don't get my bets in like a moron.
That one was just free money, folks. Scotty C was just trying to give you money. I mean, that when they say money doesn't grow on trees, they're right, but it grows on Scotty C's beard, and that was one that he put there for you. You got to take it.
Oh, yeah, there for the giving. Yeah, Oregon State's a joke. They suck. 1-9 in the last 10 Pac-12 games.
Ooh, that's not good.
No, their one win coming against a Colorado team that should have won that game.
And it doesn't get any easier going from here on out, does it?
No, I mean we got Washington State this week, who, man, I wish their quarterback wasn't hurt. Otherwise, I would very confidently pick Washington State in that game. But with their backup quarterback, who looked good, you know, little iffy, little iffy.
You remember when the people in charge of the BCS said that the college football playoff was the value of the regular season?
Dude, it's been sick, right? It's like a lot of intrigue. Should we go over the four and then we'll go into picks?
Yeah, give me the four. Let's talk about maybe how some of these conferences are setting up, and then we'll get into our picks.
All right. So, the top one, we got Mississippi State. Agree with it. Can't argue. You got Florida State. They're undefeated. Kind of have to put them there, even though they don't have a good win, really.
They have a great player. They have a great player on that team.
You got one amazing player.
He is the quintessential eraser of everything that is bad on a football team.
Exactly. And then you got third, we got Auburn, right? Who, they've looked good, man. SEC West is a pretty good conference. And then you got Oregon at 4. Who, I don't know, man. They've looked good, but I don't know. I don't think they do very well against a lot of these other teams in the top, 8 or whatever you want to say.
Okay, so let's look at this top.
Looking at 5.
Yeah, let's look at this top 4 right now. So you had, as you said, Mississippi State 1, Florida State 2, Auburn 3, Oregon 4. So if that were the case, Mississippi State and Oregon on a neutral field, what do you think the spread is?
Say Mississippi State -3.5.
And see, the interesting thing about that, I think Oregon matches up better with Mississippi State than they do with Florida State or Auburn. I think Oregon would give Mississippi State a lot of problems on defense.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's funny, once you said that matchup, I was like, man, I kind of like Oregon in that game, even though I just said they would struggle.
Yeah, that's a real tough Mississippi State. That's a real tough matchup for Mississippi State right there, man. Real tough matchup.
With Oregon's lateral speed against them, yeah, it'd be an interesting game.
Yeah, and Oregon, like Mississippi State's defense is going to cost them at some point, and I know we're just gas-bagging right now, giving hypotheticals, but I would take Oregon and whatever points you gave me in that matchup. Florida State and Auburn, wouldn't that be an interesting 2-3 matchup and a rematch from last year's national title game?
That'd be crazy. That'd be a crazy game. I still like Florida State in that game, though. I don't know I don't know how much better. I mean, Florida State definitely isn't as good as last year, but when you just have a quarterback like Jameis, it's hard to pick against him.
Yeah, the Pac-12. It's interesting how the Pac-12 is going to come down to because at this point, Arizona State and Oregon are in pole position, and Arizona State has a big one against Notre Dame this weekend. But I like Arizona State in that game. I think they were 2.5 point favorites the last time I checked. I didn't give them in my winners, but I like them in that game a lot. But one loss Oregon in the north, one loss Arizona State in the south. If those two can win out. Although Oregon, I mean, they got a tough game against Utah this weekend. Utah on the road, tough defense, but I think Oregon will do just enough to get by them.
Yeah, I don't think Utah's ready for. I mean, they've been a scrappy team with some good wins, but I don't think they're ready for Oregon yet.
So Kansas State has a tough one this weekend. I believe they're playing TCU, and TCU is actually a 6 point favorite in that game. What happens though? Let's play the what if game for a second here. Kansas State finishes 11-1, wins the Big 12, and Auburn goes 10-2. Say Auburn. We'll just say Auburn loses to. We'll say they lose to Bama in the Iron Bowl. Who do you, if the college football top, if the fourth slot comes down to Kansas State and Auburn, Kansas State at 11-1, Auburn at 10-2, who do you take?
I reward the conference champion. I mean, plain and simple. If I had to say,
Even though Auburn had to go through the SEC West.
yeah, unfortunately, man, it sucks. But like, I was so against that LSU Alabama national title game because they'd already played and Alabama didn't win their.
Oh no,
Didn't
LSU had to play an extra game against Georgia while Alabama got to sit on the sidelines and take advantage of
teams
Oklahoma
losing.
State having another tragedy involving a plane, and then they had to go play on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Brandon Whedon. I'm not bitter. We would have killed you, Oklahoma State. Would have been the greatest college football team to ever go down in the history of the BCS era. Nah. Moving on.
Yeah. You have to win your I mean, if I will not agree with any non-conference championship winning team in the top four at the end of the year. That's just like some weird like 3-loss team. But
What if FSU lost a game in the ACC and then won their conference and they were 12-1 and they were 11-1? Would you then put FSU ahead of a 2-loss SEC West team like Auburn? Say FSU loses to Miami and then beats Miami in the ACC championship game. They're the conference champ.
Yeah. Yeah, I would reward the conference champions.
Ah, you feel so dirty saying that, don't you?
Yeah, a little bit. Because yeah, it'd be tough, man. It's brutal for these SEC West teams. Like it's just a brutal division and a brutal conference this year. So, oh, my phone's going off. Sorry. But yeah, I don't know. Conference champions, they won their conference. It's a shitty argument, but
Well, I
I don't
just
know what else to say.
no, I just think all conferences aren't created equally. If Kansas State were to go 11-1, they absolutely deserve a spot in the playoff. If Florida State loses, I don't care who is like. It depends obviously on who that fifth team would be, but Florida State doesn't have much of an argument. None of the remaining teams on their schedule are ranked. Miami is not going to get ranked by the time they play FSU unless this weekend a lot of teams lose and they get voted in because Miami's off. It's not like they're playing anyone. Florida State's trailed in 4 of the 8 games they've played this year. And I understand that they got a lot of young guys. That Dalvin Cook kid looked really good against Louisville. Hopefully he replaces Carlos Williams. Because Carlos Williams, I don't know, man. The whole Carlos Williams thing, the whole social media domestic battery thing, then he's with his drug dealer and something that went wrong, still starting. Hey, Florida State, like, if you don't want people to criticize you, stop doing things that people will criticize you for.
Right?
Simple tip.
Little known fact, when you don't do dumb shit, no one says anything.
Yeah, and when you look at this whole, like, world is against us mentality that Florida State fans have, you could actually argue that no team has benefited more than Florida State because they've benefited from the fact of who they were last year, and all season long it's just like FSU's going to be there, they'll be there, they play in the worst conference, but you know, they were so dominant last year. They're going to put it together. They have Jameis Winston. They have the athletes. But, like, could you imagine if like, Mississippi State had trailed in 4 of their 8 games and had looked as bad as they have in a very weak SEC West? They wouldn't be ranked in the top 2. Like, Florida State's gotten a lot of benefit of the doubt, and this whole persecution complex is like, guys, come on. Just come on, guys.
Yeah, just relax.
If you win, you're in. Don't worry about it. Just take solace in the fact that you played 2 ranked teams all year. Congratulations. Like, I wish some of the SEC West teams could get away with that, but they can't. Just be happy with that. You're lucky. You're very lucky. SEC and the Pac-12 and the Big 12 are jealous of you.
Yeah.
We're not mad. We're just jealous.
Yeah. Dude, the ACC has just been so weak since they put that conference together. It's so weird, like, how none of those teams have been able to. Jesus Christ. Sorry, there's like a apocalypse going on outside. But yeah,
They're coming. Don't get evicted, Scott. They're coming for you.
Yeah, I know. You hear that? so loud. But this is what the people get when we live record, you know?
Yeah.
with no editing.
All these other podcasts have editing. They can stop and cut and kind of input and output. You and I, man, we're printing to tape. This is one take.
Yep. One take. This is what you get, people. The good and bad. I mean, mainly bad for me, but that's okay.
Well, let's get into our winners here. I'm very impressed. You rebounded very, very impressively from that 0-5 week on our Underground podcast.
My ghost 0-5 that never took place? Sure, okay, yeah.
You and I both.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
No, you're coming back, brother, man. You can't get back on top unless you start from square one. And I'm very impressed that you're showing last week. You and I both went 4-1. Ashley went 2-3. So, based on season record, I guess I will start since I am 10-5. And you got to battle at 0-5 week. So obviously, everyone keep that in mind. Scotty C's battling an 0-5 week when you look at his season record of 7-10. So Ashley went 2-3. Her record on the season is 8-5-1. You'll notice we all have different numbers. That's because in the first week we all kind of picked a different amount of games, and we really haven't. We've settled on 5 games each, but that still keeps the discrepancy from the first week. So we're not really smart here. Math's not our subject. As I mentioned, I wish I was smart enough to get into the University of Michigan, but simple arithmetic has kept me out. So let's start with my winners. Oklahoma favored, giving 6.5 points at home against Baylor. Baylor's never won in Norman. Baylor loss drops them into a tie with OU in the Big 12. I don't know, man. Sterling Shepard and Keith Ford are going to play. There's no pressure on Oklahoma. Second straight week, I'm going with the Sooners. Texas getting 3.5 points at home against West Virginia. When I looked at the spread, this one really freaked me out because it's like, why is Texas only a 3.5 point underdog at home against West Virginia? But I don't know. West Virginia's come through for me twice. Texas burned me against Kansas State. Mountaineers just lost a heartbreaker. Clint Trickett really looked shaky in that second half. Horns need 2 wins in their final 3 games to be bowl eligible. Don't be shocked if the Horns pull the upset here. Kentucky is getting 10 points at home against Georgia. Wildcats, double-digit home dog. Patrick Knowles and the Kentucky offense looked horrible against Mizzou, but they only lost by 10. I think they keep it close against Georgia, and as Georgia showed us last week, they're very one-dimensional. Hunter Mason cannot be trusted to win a game. Fourth pick here, Michigan State is giving 3.5 points to Ohio State. Ohio State played Virginia last week. Spartans are coming off a bye. The way I look at the Spartans, man, if they had scheduled Central Michigan or Middle Tennessee State instead of Oregon, they'd be undefeated and in the top 3 or 4. It's a November night game in East Lansing. Who do I trust more to make the clutch throw to break the other team's back? Connor Cook or JT Barrett? Going with Connor Cook. Michigan State, give the 3.5 points, take it. And my last pick of the week, LSU Tigers, getting 6.5. Because why? Because fuck Bama.
Yeah, fuck Bama.
Scotty C, the floor is yours, and then I will give Ashley's.
All right. So my first pick, I'm just gonna ride it. Washington State's getting 8 at Oregon State. Oregon State is a very soft 4-4. Washington State is better than 2-7. Even though Washington State's got a backup quarterback, I'm rolling. I'm always going to bet against the Beavers. I think that's a safe bet this year.
Curse of BC, man.
What's up?
It's the curse of BC.
You know it. Fucking Mike Riley, garbage ass. I'm taking Northwestern plus 1.5 at home against Michigan. I think Northwestern just plays harder than Michigan. I don't know. That's all I really got for that one. I got Penn State -7 at Indiana. Indiana's on like their 7th quarterback. They're really bad. I think Penn State's going to be able to put up some points against them. And then 3.
Yeah.
Where'd you go? I'm so good at this. Let's go. I'm taking Arizona State. Did I already say that? -2.5 against Notre Dame. I think that's going to be a very electric atmosphere. Pac-12 represent a little bit. And then my last pick, gotta go with another random ass team. I'm going Florida Atlantic -3 at North Texas.
Whoa, Scotty C is just a master of the Sun Belt, y'all.
That's where the money's made. I'm really tempted to go Oregon -8.5. Really tempted, but Utah's scrappy, so I'm gonna stay away. Even though no, Florida Atlantic -3. Boom.
All right. Well, Ashley's going to come in and pick up right where you left off. She's taken Oregon and given that 8.5 points. She said
Nice.
she's taking the Ducks. She also has Kansas State getting 6 points on the road at TCU. Interesting. West Virginia. She's going against me, and West Virginia is giving the 3.5. She'll probably be right.
White is right?
You said it, not me.
Kidding. Jokes. Come on.
West Virginia has always been there for me. Texas has screwed me. She's on the right side of that, taking West Virginia, giving the 3.5. She's got Colorado getting 16.5, and Texas A&M getting 21.5 on Auburn. Woo. So
Quarterback at Auburn. Bold.
Yeah. Ashley's picks: Oregon -8.5, Kansas State getting 6, West Virginia giving 3.5, Colorado getting 16.5, Texas A&M getting 21.5. My picks, just one more time, were Michigan State giving 3.5 to Ohio State, LSU getting 6.5 against Bama. Oklahoma giving 6.5 against Baylor. Texas getting 3.5 against West Virginia. And Kentucky getting 10 against Georgia. Scotty C, I remember FAU, but run down for him real quick.
AU -3. Washington State +8. Should really start writing these down after I say them. Arizona State -2.5. And no, Northwestern +1.5. Yeah, that was it, right? Is that 5? Did I say 5? Oh, Penn State -7. Yeah, there it is. Nailed it.
Future Michigan Regents, Scotty C and I, y'all.
Oh, man. Yep, it's full of brains over here. Full of tired brains because I'm not nice to my body.
Any stories we should be aware about, or should we just keep this podcast the way it is so you can promote it on your Facebook page and not have it blow up in your face? Because I was going to give you crap for not promoting it, but then I was like, wait a minute.
Did you not share last week?
There was a little bit too close for comfort on the last
Sorry,
one.
Joyce heard it. Fucking first comment on our phone call. Not even like a half a second into it. So, awesome. Sweet. No. Yeah, I stand up too much. And my legs hate me. I gotta figure out a way to, like, unbound my hamstrings. My body hates me. I'm so mean to it, dude.
Well, remember when we were in Hawaii and Garrett was asking why he couldn't, like, bend over to stretch, and you implored to him your words of wisdom of his weak core and poor flexibility.
Yep, weak core, tight hamstrings leads to back problems. Yeah, hamstrings are awful. It's really bad. I'm like as bad as Garrett now, probably.
The funny thing is, guys are just perfect for that hotel room. So similar. Like, that hotel room would have been so bad if it had been anyone but you three.
Any other combination?
Yeah. Oh, anyone else who was put in that room, it wouldn't have worked. But the three of you, that was. Queen Capuani got very lucky that it was the three of you.
Yeah, I only slept there like fucking one night, you know? It's ridiculous. Kept sleeping on floors and couches.
Which actually provided more room than your hotel room.
It's true.
No. So what, you mentioned to me before we went on that today is your Sunday, so Saturday is your Tuesday. What are you going to be doing for the LSU game?
I will be at work slanging drinks.
You guys have the game on?
Most likely. Yeah. Yeah, if I have the remote, yeah, I would definitely have that game on over any others. I don't know what other game would be on at that time.
I think the only other one at that time is like Arizona State, Notre Dame, and then Oregon, Utah. So keep the Oregon game and away from that shit.
Yeah, no Oregon game. Oregon was playing Stanford, and my boss was like, "Why aren't we watching the Stanford game?" I was like, "They're playing Oregon." He's like, "Aren't you from there?" I'm like, "Nah, man, fuck." Like, I went on a rant. I was pissed. My boss was like, "All right, man, cool, whatever."
Won't make that mistake again.
Yeah. Surprisingly enough, I can be kind of a condescending dick sometimes, and I know that's shocking to anyone who knows me. So, yeah, I might have had one of those moments.
All right. Well, you should know that not everyone from Oregon is a god dang Ducks fan.
Right.
Them Ducks.
Well, everyone who didn't go to college in Oregon is a Ducks fan. So, but I did go to college at Oregon State, a reputable institution.
All right, man. Well, you enjoy your work week since this is this is your Sunday. I'm going into my Friday, so we were both kind of on opposite ends of the spectrum. But go Tigers, and just remember, guys,
Go Tigers.
Nick Saban eats babies.